Hey guys, Hayden here again from Alarm System Store, and today we're going to be talking about the Honeywell 4219 Zone Expander module. This is an 8-zone expander for Honeywell Vista systems, and basically, like I said, all it does is it adds 8 additional hardwired inputs to your Honeywell Vista system for zones. So what I'm going to be covering in today's video is essentially just how to wire this up. And then up here, I don't know if you can see it from there, but there's a set of dip switches that I'm going to be covering. And depending on the dip switch settings, that changes the address of this module. Now, any module connected to a Honeywell Vista panel has to use a specific address, or else the system can't read it properly, essentially. So whenever you go to attach this, you have to select a specific address. For zone expanders, you'll have an address for zones 9 through 16, one for 17 through 24, so on and so forth. So getting those dip switches correct is the most vital aspect of setting this up properly. But essentially, I'm just going to be covering a quick tutorial about how to do that. And one other thing I wanted to show you guys real quick. So for the longest time, these modules did not come with resistors for the Vista panels. Basically, you need a specific resistor size so that they can properly be read by the Vista panel. And this is something that most people probably didn't think to do, but in the bottom side of the box, there is a second flap, and if you open that up, it's actually got a little pack with the resistors in it, and it's got a little mounting bracket thing too. So that is where the resistors are inside here. So it does come with resistors, and you'll also get this 4-wire connection cable that allows you to connect it to the core bus of the panel. You can connect this via this wire here, this little wire harness, or if you just have open wire, it does have a set of 4 terminals that you use right here that allow you to just connect it directly to the core bus. So I'm going to be covering that real quick. So let me get the camera moved over and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to start with just the 4219. Basically, like I said, this does have a 4-wire connection to the core bus of the Vista panel, which you're going to use these 4 terminals over here for. If you do decide to use the little wiring harness that it comes with, the clip connects to these pins right here, and then you have your red, black, yellow, and green wires that you connect to the Vista 20 panel. So I'm not going to use the wiring harness, I'm just going to hook up the 4-wire terminals here, and basically, if we flip it around this way, you have yellow, red, black, and green. So I'm going to connect those up in that order, and I'll be right back. All right, so this is what your zone expander is going to look like as far as wiring goes. Like I said, yellow, red, black, and green. I have white, but white or yellow. So now we're going to jump over to the Vista panel, and I'll show you where the wires go for that. So we got our main board here, and as you can see, I've just taken everything off of it so I can show you guys a little bit easier where everything goes. But on the Vista panel, you're going to start with terminal number 4, which you can just count them across. It does have them listed down here. It's kind of hard to see though. But your black wire is going to go on terminal 4. Then your red wire is going to go on terminal 5. Green is terminal 6. And then yellow or white is at terminal 7. And that is all the wiring you'll have to do to connect the 4219 to your Honeywell Vista. You will have other wires in here. You're going to have keypads connected here, other zone expanders, relay modules if you got them, whatever the case might be. Anything that connects to the core bus is going to hit these 4 terminals here, so that side will be easy. Just make sure you pay attention whenever you wire on the 4219. Now, I'm going to take this apart real quick, and then we're going to take a look at the dip switches. So Real quick, while I'm doing this, I will mention the zone terminals, which is the longer set of terminals here on the bottom. And basically the way those are oriented is you have zone 1 over here on the far left. You have a common for zone 1 and 2, and there's zone 2 right there. Then it goes to zone 3, common, zone 4, so on and so forth. And across there you get a total of 8 zones. So whenever you're going to wire in your zones, just pay attention to the terminals markings down there. They're kind of hard to see, but if you need to, you can take this board out of the module. It's got little clips right here. If you push those out, you can pop the board out. Actually, I might go ahead and do that just because we are going to be taking a look at the dip switches, so it'll probably be easier to see them that way. So you push those clips in, and then it just pulls up and out like that. So this white box is just a casing. It does come with a lid as well, so you can use that just to protect the module or whatever the case might be. But right here, let's see if I can get them in the light, but underneath here is where the terminal markings are. And like I said, zone 1, common, zone 2, so on and so forth. So now that I've covered that, I want to take a look at the dip switches. So whenever you go to mess with the dip switches, make sure you orient the zone expanders so the dip switches are closest to you. So it's going to be very hard to see on the camera. Let me see how much I can zoom in without it getting too blurry or anything. So that's about as far as I can get zoomed in on the camera. Hopefully you guys can see this, but essentially you have 1 through 8. And 1 through 8 is from left to right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you have a little on marking right here at the top. And what that means is while the board is oriented this way, up is going to be on and down is going to be off. So this module does come with a little sheet that gives you a rundown of all the device addresses. So when you go to attach this to your panel, you do need to check your actual system manual to make sure. If you're working with a standard Vista system, you can follow exactly what I'm doing. But depending on if you have like a Vista 128 or if you have any of the more fancy Vista panels that are out there that we don't carry on our site, it may have different address slots that it wants you to use. As far as the 15P and the 20P go, address 7 is going to be the zone expander address when you're attaching zones 9 to 16. 8 is going to be zones 17 to 24. 9 is going to be 25 to 32, so on and so forth. So, as you can see here, it just gives you a pretty quick little layout of what you need to do. So these are the switch numbers over here, and it's determined by switches 2 through 6. So on our board here, dip switches 2 through 6 are going to determine what address this module uses. So we'll go ahead and set it for address 7, which you guys can see here. It says 2 is off, 3 is off, and 4 is off, and then 5 and 6 are on. So we'll go ahead and set that right now. These do come all off by default, so we need to flip 5 and 6 to the on position. Now you will need to use a little tool like that. Don't push too hard because they can break, but essentially just pop those up into the proper position. So now, while this is attached to a Vista panel, it's going to tell the system that this module is being used for zones 9 to 16. So, there are 3 other dip switches on this device, however, and this is all on this little sheet. This is also a sticker, so you can put it like on the in the box that it comes with in the casing. That way you'll never forget. But essentially, up here, dip switch 1 determines the response time for all zones. So on is the normal response, which is 300 milliseconds, and off is the fast response to an open zone. So basically, whenever you're attaching your zones, each type of device that you attach is going to have a different required response time. I would say the vast majority of all sensors are going to use the normal response of 300 milliseconds. There are some unique sensors, such as a beam sensor that we used to carry. It did require a fast response time, especially when you were using it in terms of chime whenever people were walking into a building. If you had it at foot level, there wasn't enough of a break in the beam when people would walk by, so you had to have the fast response set. Basically, people's legs weren't big enough to keep the beam broken for more than 300 milliseconds. So what you do is you set it to fast response, and that means if the zone is broken for 10 milliseconds, then it is going to trigger the zone. So what you would normally do if you're using a standard setup, always flip zone 1 to on, and that will give you the standard response time for all zones. Now, moving on here, we'll jump over to through 6 because that's how you address, and then we'll go to position 7 or switch 7. So dip switch 7 selects the use of normally closed or EOLR zones. So what that means is if dip switch number 7 is set to on, all zones are normally closed. So you would use this if you're not using a resistor. So if you're not using resistors with your zones, basically you're just wiring directly to the circuit and you have a normally closed circuit, you can flip dip switch 7 to the on position. Now if you do want to use resistors, you have to keep that in the off position. And these require the use of the 2K ohm resistors, the same as the rest of the panel, the same as the ones that come with it. So, depending on whether or not you're using end-of-line resistors, decide position 7. On, again, is normally closed, and off is for resistors. All right, and the last dip switch is going to be dip switch number 8, and that determines whether or not the case tamper is going to be on or off. If the dip switch is set to on, it disables the tamper. If it's off, then it enables the tamper. So what that means is if you have dip switch set to on, then it's not going to worry about this button that's right here. This button, when pushed down, says the tamper's good. If it's released, it says there's a trouble. So if you're going to use the case and the cover with this device, you can leave dip switch number 8 in the off position, but if you're taking it out and you're going to mount it like this inside the cabinet, then switch that to the on position, and that way it won't pay attention to this little button right here. And that's it for the most part. So that is the entirety of what you need to do to set up a 4219 zone expander. So that's going to do it for me. By the way, this does have additional diagrams showing basically where the zone terminals sit. So you got, like I said, terminal 1, 2, and 3. Those are for zones 1 and 2. 2 is the shared common, so on and so forth. And it shows you where the resistors go, the whole bit. So it does come with a decent little schematic here that gives you all of the information. But the biggest thing that I've seen get messed up is the dip switches, because a lot of people will mount them like this, and if you're looking at the dip switches like this, then it looks like up should be on and down should be off, and then you get things backwards. So just make sure whenever you're looking at the dip switches, you look at it from this orientation, because even though it's very hard to see, there is a little on button or a little on mark right there. So whenever the dip switches are pointed towards the majority of the board, that is on. If they're pointed towards the edge of the board, that means they are off. So just wanted to give a quick tutorial about this module since we didn't have one up on the site. So if you guys are interested in this or any other Honeywell products whatsoever, by all means check us out at alarmsystemstore.com. We have the Vista line and a few other products. But that's going to do it for me on this video, and if you guys are on YouTube, please give a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.